Hello and welcome to episode 103. That's 103 episodes of Relics of Orr, the show about Guild Wars, Guild Wars 2, and the Guild Wars community on the whole. I'm your host, Eric, aka Shongaku, and this week I am joined by a fantastic selection of hosts. First of all, I'm going to go in order of distance from me. So that means we're going to start with Washed, our ever awesome friend from Phoenix. How are you doing, Washed?
Dandy, now that I got to play like 5 minutes of Edge of the Mist.
How about that game this weekend?
What game? There's a game? I don't remember one of the teams showing up, so...
Yeah.
A dead horse, or the horse as it were.
Well, hey, I figure, hey, ArenaNet's in Seattle, you know, give them props for being in the winning place.
Dude, how about that artwork that they threw together?
Oh my goodness, that was
Yeah,
fantastic.
Boom!
We also have Kate from Wisconsin, who is, I think, further away from my other host than me from my other host. It's a question of like angles, and yeah. So how are you doing this week, Kate?
Well, it's slightly less frigid, so I'm slightly less frozen, which means I'm in a better mood. My happiness is directly correlated to the weather here. I don't know if you know that, but if you're from an area where it's cold, it is. Eric knows. Eric's from Alaska.
It's true. Yes, it's called seasonal affective disorder, and right around this time of year, people start going what we call stir crazy. Getting cabin fever, murders go up, suicides go up, people just wandering out into the snow and never being seen again.
Seriously?
It's horrible stuff. But, fortunately...
Worst intros.
I do, and that is the beautiful sounds of Malchior Devonholm, who reminds me that my intros always go into a weird direction. How are you doing this week, Mal?
Better. Maybe. I don't know.
You survived the storm of the century and the apocalypse, apparently. Congratulations on that.
Oh, it's coming back for round 2.
It's coming back around.
It was 80 degrees today.
Nice!
It was 80 degrees yesterday.
You trumped Tucson. We were like 30 degrees. It was so cold. I did not actually have any flashbacks of Alaska, though, so... Yes. Speaking of things which are cold, there's an entire Arctic section in the new World Edge of the Mist map, which came out this week. Have you guys had a chance to get in and play it?
Yes, kicking ass.
Ish.
I got 5 minutes, like I said.
Just about everyone's had 5 minutes now.
5
That was
minutes.
about all the servers were up for.
Oh. So, from the 5 minutes, have you guys been able to get in and do anything with the living story in Edge of the Mists then? So, Washed, what have you seen?
Well, the only thing that I was able to get done was getting below the map, which advances to the next story part, but I've done everything up to that point, so I haven't collected any parts yet or anything like that, but so far the story part has been really engaging.
Oh,
Yeah,
surprisingly. Cool. Kate, what have you been seeing with the story?
Into Edge of the Mist right away. You've got to go back, and first we see the reappearance of Kanak.
Great dialogue, by the way.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Stick around and listen to what's going on with Kanak for a while. Talk to him. Really follow up on those choices, because finally there's some payoff for doing so. So yeah, definitely go investigate that. And also the Dead End now has some fantastic dialogue, and you know the reincorporation of stuff we've seen in the online stories now in game. Fantastic, wonderful job, ArenaNet. Great writing this round.
Yeah,
Very
and again,
cool.
stick around, talk to everybody. Yeah.
So, Malchior, have you been able to pursue the story at all? Or were you doing other things?
Little bit. Timey is definitely the best character by initial introduction to the game that we've had yet.
Oh, absolutely.
She's still
gave
firing
her-
on all cylinders?
They gave her substance immediately.
Really?
I don't necessarily want to throw too much out there in case people want to explore it on their own, but she's got a lot more depth compared to when we first saw Bramham Rocks. They were just like, here's a Char, here's a Norn. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
It's true. We
And
didn't even get
and it was
Kabram
like that
until
for
much
two-
later.
It was like that for 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, with Timey, I mean, it is literally like, here's this character, you can go talk about their background, she's got motivations for, like, why she's doing what she's doing. I mean, they did a fantastic job with her, so kudos to ArenaNet.
So do you think that part of that is because of the awesome fact that they now can actually get the writers can actually start putting content in without... So this seems to be, like, the direct correlation to that. So... That's awesome.
I would think so.
I like how one of the best like story feature improvements is not a gameplay feature, it is a dev tool feature. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I need to move my chat room so I can actually see it really quick.
We're about to cap a tower.
Nice. So you're currently in Edge of the Mists. How many people have you knocked off the edge yet, Mal?
0. I haven't ran into any opponents. We just ran and took an empty tower. I'll run into them in a sec. Like, I played in the public beta, so I've had my fill.
Oh, so you've knocked people off towers before.
Oh yeah, I've done my NG deal.
Nice. Do you get an achievement for that, knocking people off of the cliffs?
No, because it kind of be hard to track that. But if you fall off a cliff, or if the person you knock off falls off the cliff, they get Ledge of the Mists.
Beautiful.
Oh, did you guys see the amazing Twitter pun series that occurred?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was
Yeah.
amazing. If you guys, you need to follow Neo Nugget. Who else was it? It was
Dara.
just Dara.
Lord Master K.
Yes,
Lord
Laura,
Master K.
Lord Master K.
Theo Nguyen.
Hunter got in on it. It was pretty fantastic. There was just,
That chain of puns.
It was awesome.
oh my goodness, I love it when puns come out. I'm a huge fan of puns. So, along with things that are actually it's not very punny. In fact, there's no puns that I can come up with this, but they've added a queue tracker to the WW maps. How's that looking?
Let's see. Well, since it would only be possible to see the queue on the existing maps, and everyone's in Edge of the Mist today, it's kind of hard to verify.
Is it working? Is it not? We don't know. There's no queues. Understandable. So, but that's
out on
actually going to be a
Friday.
pretty significant change from what I've seen, because people can now actually know what queue. Do you think that's going to help with the WW seasons, getting people in?
Absolutely. There's going to be, like, coverage isn't going to be as questionable, at least across multiple maps. It's going to be a big deal for the higher tier servers. They can see where they're lighter in coverage compared to, like, EB or their home Borderlands. And I forgot to put the diving goggles on. Please give me achievement. Dang it!
Did you die when you fell into that? Or is
Nope.
that water
I
highly
lived.
effective?
I lived, but I think you gotta have the diving goggles.
I do
on
like
for
the fact that...
achievements.
So, that's actually an interesting thing. So they added in the Edge of the Mist, you can dive off of it and you land into, what, like, waist deep water?
No,
Not
it's
even?
like a bucket of water. Just like a high dive.
I think it's interesting in that you land into that water and you don't die, which means, but if you land anywhere around it, you do, which means that they can create, essentially, non-death zones for jumping now.
Well, they had that. There was an achievement in, was it Queen's Gauntlet?
Yeah, for jumping in the bale of hay.
Jumping in the hay.
That's right.
Oh, really?
So
I
that's
missed that
going to
one.
be very interesting to see what they can do with jumping puzzles now, where it's like, if you miss this target, you die, but if not... So I'm kind of excited, because, like, jumping through,
Got it.
like, a bunch of
Don't
spikes...
scare Wash like that. Look at him.
No.
So there's this thing called,
Jumping puzzles are already hard enough. Let's not make them harder.
There's
if
this-
you don't hit
The
this
bodies-
exact
the
pixel.
bodies that are plunging from this tower.
Are people just dying in mass? That's
Yes.
amazing. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, I'm excited. And I'm kind of excited for Super Adventure Box version 3. This time it lasts forever. There's a subtle hint in the net. I kind of want it to be permanent content. Just cough. Throwing that out there. But things that will apparently be dying soon is Scarlet. So what's Scarlet up to? She's found the edge of the mist. She's ripped it open. Is she doing anything clever, or what are we learning about Scarlet this patch, this story section?
To be
From
honest,
what we
'cause
know, go ahead, Kate.
No, well, from what we've seen so far, she's broken out Mitrin and says, "We've got a job for you in the mist," but we don't really know what it is.
Wait, so she talked to my Trin?
Well,
She
her,
broke my
Oh,
out of
she
jail.
broke my out of jail.
Yeah.
Wow. She got
Yeah.
into Lion's Arch and broke the... How'd she
Her
find the
minions
cell?
did.
How did she
Her
find the
minions did.
cell?
how didn't she? It's like out in the middle of.
Right? Yeah.
That's what I was saying. I was like,
the one man
Big
cell.
The
neon
one-man
sign,
prison.
Maya Trin here. Yeah.
please dock at this conveniently located escape dock with your airships. Take her out and run away.
Seriously.
I mean, it was a group of her Aetherblade, and actually the sheriff there specifically says that she heard, like, Scarlet speaking through some device. So she wasn't actually in Lion's Arch.
Yeah.
But her minions
That's
were,
pretty-
which I think is Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Keep talking.
I was just going to say, I think it's interesting that she herself didn't do it, that she worked by proxy, because there's a lot of theories right now about what's going to happen with LA. So her, I think, not showing up there just yet might be significant.
Well, I think also, if you've seen Scarlet, every single time she's shown up, she has been in a situation where she is in complete control.
Exactly.
Doing a snatch and grab out of Lion's Arch, sure, she's crazy, but she acts crazy, and I think she has an element of instability from the Cthulhu dragon Jinn god. Yeah, that's right. I'm going with that theory. Surprise, surprise. But she has sort of she's targeted in what she does, and I don't think that she would be dumb enough to be like, I'm gonna just walk into Lion's Arch.
Yeah.
So that's actually kind of cool. I mean, that shows that they've put some thought into it. That it's not like Scarlet just doing everything. It's cool.
Oh, and in case you haven't seen it yet,
Oh,
there's
I
something
have a developer on my team. Hello, developer.
Give him a group hug
There's-
for us.
there's
With the
something,
friendship bracelet.
there's something specific that does happen with the Thumper in LA, which is pretty significant. Though we don't know exactly why it's significant yet.
Does it get
but
Twitter pated?
maybe. It's got a little quagga. It's got the quaggin thing around it. No.
I've been wanting to use
That would be
Thumper and Twitter pated for weeks now, and I finally had an opportunity, so I decided I'd
Well,
take it.
Valentine's Day is coming up.
It's true. Oh, because that aligns with another 2-week release. No, it
does?
actually doesn't at all, but it
It's on
could.
Friday, buddy.
It could have Scarlet Falls in Love with Logan Thackeray.
Stop it.
Do I
Hey,
need to
yeah,
put
break
this on my
it up.
head? I got this. Here we go. Yeah, put that on. Okay, so it is kind of cool. So she broke Mitrin out, so she's definitely planning something, because Mitrin was one of her top... I mean, Mitrin actually knew who she was working for as opposed to everyone else.
Yeah.
So that could be very interesting.
Yeah, and there's actually, and that's what we were talking about before, where you need to stick around, because Canuck actually talks a little bit about, why is he still in prison when they broke my Trin out. So stick around for that, because it's a good, he doesn't want to work for Scarlet.
Mal, quick question. So he's still in prison. How was he imprisoned?
He's in the same
they
place
left
that
him
I
there.
was in.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, so they were in the same cell together?
Well,
I've been to that.
She tossed him in. I don't know if he was just to the side or something, but Mai left him to rot, and his dialogue says "Oh, I hope you don't
Thank
think
goodness.
bad. I hope you don't think bad of me. I'm not a part of Scarlet's grand scheme. They tried to talk me into it, but after seeing what I did at South Sun, I couldn't go with them."
Nice. So we're pretty confident then that Canuck is going to be Sylvari Tyrion Avenger.
Possibly.
I would think
Probably
so.
even.
Which is good, because the community has had a real love affair with Canuck ever since he was introduced.
He's
there is
interesting.
so
yeah.
much fan love for him.
He's a Sylvari without he's like Scar. It actually compares him to her in his dialogue. He's like Scarlet in that he believes in, having free agency as a Sylvari, but he makes the key distinction that he's not Scarlet because, he still wants to do good with it. He just doesn't want to be a part of the tree and her shenanigans.
That actually brings up an interesting question. Is he a silenced Sylvari?
Not silent.
They've ever said.
They have another. That's not the term.
Stilled?
But
No, that's a
yeah, I was like trying to think. I thought it was silenced.
Sylvari, you're talking about the
silent, isn't it?
The splinter group that's in Caledon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Caledon Forest. But they separate themselves from the tree. I just assumed that that's what they referred to as Sylvari, that we're not in the
soundless.
Soundless. There we go. Okay, so he's a soundless Sylvari.
I don't know. Is he? Maybe.
He doesn't specifically mention it, but it's entirely possible.
Interesting. I like that. That adds an interesting... Because that means that he can do darker things as a Sylvari, but still be a good guy because he's not contributing to the nightmare.
Right.
Possibly, yeah.
Very cool. Well, have you guys seen anything else from the patch, aside from the gem store, which we're going to go over in a little bit, that seems to be a really big thing? I know that there haven't been any big class changes or anything.
Well, there were some things that happened that weren't documented in the patch notes. The big thing... Okay, well, there's a couple big things for me. One of them is that now, as a commander, you can see your own commander tag, which is good because occasionally it disappears on me and people are going, "Where's Spirit? I can't see her commander tag." I'm like, "It's on. Can't you see it?" "No, it's disappeared." Thanks. Well, now I can tell when it disappears. And I can see it. And I won't leave it on in Lion's Arch because it's huge and obnoxious, and I don't want to see that anymore.
You don't want to be a giant blue Dorito?
No, I don't. I don't want to see a giant blue Dorito stuck in the middle of my screen. It's good to have that option there, but I wish I could top it off almost. Anyway, the other big thing for me is they've put the kibosh on jumping around the cage in the fractals. Oh, I'm told the commander tag thing is a bug. Oh, well.
What?
I thought it was a feature. I'm gonna go for a feature on that
It's
one.
not a
Apollo
bug.
on
It's
that.
a feature.
Anyway, yeah, you can no longer skip around the cage in the dredge fractal, which isn't okay, yeah, it's about, like, they make you do the content, but the problem with the dredge fractal right now is I have a goal of getting to level 50 fractals. I'm at level 37 currently. When I progress in a fractal, I always pull dredge because I have the worst luck. It is a highly frustrating experience for everyone involved. The scaling is not good. You'll be overwhelmed by the insane number of dredge, and it's just not fun. It's longer than all the other fractals. Most everyone I run with, when we pull dredge, they're like, "Oh, let's just re-roll and try for something else. If we get anything else, we can complete it." But dredge is so long and annoying and just not fun that these bug fixes are not fixing the problem. They're just fixing symptoms, and I would rather see, either an event cut out or them divided into two fractals. I don't know. Just it needs to be addressed and not in the way that they are addressing it.
What do you consider is the core problem of the dredge fractal?
It's the balance is not the difference between the effort put into it and the reward from it are not even.
Okay, so like time investment, and I mean I know the effort involved as well with regards to the switches, but the time investment put into dredge fractal is not equivalent to its reward. This can be accounted to the switches, the long or timely tactics that are used to handle the doors, Rab's fight. Essentially, every part of dredge fractal is longer or more laboring, more intensive.
Well, it's like a mini dungeon in and of itself.
Other fractals of a similar tier.
Yeah.
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 Which that actually brings up an interesting thing. What Malchior just did was he created a story that you can easily summarize the way that basically what you feel is wrong with it with just basically one sentence, two sentences, and it gives a really good feel of what's going on. And this is actually, Malchior actually proposed this on the CDI, the Collaborative Development Initiative, and Chris Whiteside seemed to think it was a pretty good idea. So, Malchior, I'm going to interrogate you about exactly how these stories work. So, you just basically did an example, and can you sort of break down what you were doing with that?
Yeah. So the way it works in software development, my day job is quality assurance, and so sometimes I get involved in those development meetings. And the way they talk about requirements for software projects is you take on like the guise or the costume or the view of a user, and you make a story. Now this could be like just essentially it has to fit on a note card, and it can be as little as one sentence. It's like, as a blank, I want blank so that blank. And so, as a person who enjoys fractals, I want it split into two parts or something so that I can feel equally rewarded for the amount of time I put in. And then from there, it just gives you this broad concept of a person's background or their specialty, what exactly they would do, and why they would do it, or the benefit they expect to get out of it. And it turns out when I presented this to Chris, he's like, yeah, we use user stories for our own internal design, so that makes perfect sense.
So so does that limit then what someone can say though? I know that a lot of people tend to get fairly in depth with some of their posts on the CDI. Do you think that they should just do the user story, or is there a way to expand on the user story?
It's literally just a conversation starter. It's to say, hey, I don't know if you guys thought about this, but as a person who plays dungeons, I kind of expected to be rewarded if I put hour and a half, 2 hours into a dredge fractal, but it cost the same as this fractal. Why? I mean, it puts you into the spot of the user just to say, real quick, this is what I think. And then from there, everyone throws in their critiques or their proposals and suggestions as to, okay, how does what you think, is it valid? Can we meet those suggestions within a proposal? What are going to be the costs? What are the possible benefits, like as a company or just within design of the encounter that we can gain? How much time is it going to take to develop? These are all little details that have to be known beforehand before you begin a development project. Because otherwise, you got to assign a team of 20 or something people, each with their own strengths and talents, and just say, all right, guys, build this, go.
And they're like, wait, what? What's being built?
So yeah, it's just to get, it's essentially a main idea to a paragraph or an essay.
Very cool. So it's almost like an opening too long didn't read, you could say.
Kinda.
Except it
in internet context, yeah.
although I suppose it's more similar to like when you write a paper in college and you do the brief at the beginning. Is really essentially what it is. It's basically an introduction. This is my point. This is why I think it should exist. And now here are details. So, for those of you that are in college who have been to college, think about the papers that they had you write in college. And when you go to the CDI, put a little bit of that formatting in there. And the user stories definitely, I think, is a fantastic idea. You guys can get more detail on that on the actual. Which CDI did you write about that on?
Right now we're just talking about like evolving the process of the CDI, so this is in the current process development thread. If people want to see the exact post I made, it's on page 2, I believe. I'm on 2 different computers now, so it's hard for me to swap. Wait, yeah.
Widechar had an interesting addition to the conversation where he said, it's very easy to think that you know what people want and then go off and spend 6 months building something that nobody actually wants or uses. Which is an interesting point, and I think that's one reason why the CDI will be helpful in the long run. Just because it does help, it helps them keep that dialogue open, and it lets them, if they know, for example, let's say that they've been building a hamster house for the past 6 months, and you can get your mini pet hamster and put him in there, and you can customize it, give him a sofa, give him some stuff, and everyone wants a hamster house. And, like, this is something people have passionately wanted. Now, they don't know that people want, but then it starts coming up on the CDI, and one guy's like, you know what I really want in Guild Wars 2? A hamster house. And then someone else is like, oh my goodness, that is brilliant. You could put a little slippers in there for him, and he could have a little table and a soda drink. I would spend real money on that, and I would spend hours customizing my hamster house. Note the fact that I'm using hamster house as a humorous alternative to other things like player housing or dungeon raids and that sort of thing. But yeah, no, hamster house. So it's kind of a cool thing because what you can get with the CDI is feedback and say, oh, either yes, we're going in the right direction, or we might need to rearrange some priorities, which I think it's pretty fantastic. And Widechar also has a good point as well, that there's also a big difference between what people think they want and what they do actually end up wanting, which I think is quite accurate.
Also between how it's presented in design. There's so many ways to interpret, like a person saying, I want mounts in Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, and then saying, okay, well, how would that actually work?
How would that work? Do you want us to unlock it via levels? Do you want to buy said mount? How fast do you want said mount to go? Do you want a mount in the open world, or shall we just like give you a mount to use only on World v World? And blah 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 blah.
Or would mounts destabilize World versus World? I mean, mounts are actually a pretty awesome topic. We should probably talk about it at some point because I think that they would fit in Tyria, but I'm not sure they would fit in Guild Wars 2. I don't think that the world necessarily fits. I think that it fits conceptually within the story, but not necessarily within the current. Now, if they started like quadrupling the size of their maps, then we might be able to get some nice. Yeah. And then there's the whole issue of, if you're on a mount, you can still attack while on a mount, and I'm pretty confident that ArenaNet would be like,
he's going sandbox mode again.
Well, okay, mounted combat is not sandbox mode. It's just awesome. And if it's ArenaNet, I'd almost expect them to be like, yeah, mounted combat's cool. We just got to make it so it's balanced. So
I could see them doing mounted combat in the same way they do underwater combat. With the 3 weapons, you can use your magical weapon, the trident, the rifle, ranged weapon, and then the spear.
Speaking of which, there's some interesting things that came back onto the data mining, specifically pole arms and fishing poles, and tying that back into mounts. Essentially, pole arms mounted. You've got your pole arm, and you're jousting with it. See, there we go. So mounted combat confirmed with hamster houses. No.
Really?
Yeah.
The pole
Sorry, no.
arm has been there since pre-release.
Well,
Yeah.
okay,
It
that's
was out of the client for a while, and it's popped back in.
okay.
why
We
it's
have to
doing
read that bombshell.
Yeah.
Ding.
Okay, since Widechar noted that a funny anecdote is the whole reason they stopped working on Utopia and started on a new engine for Guild Wars 2 is because they wanted to support mounts. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
But
How'd that go?
But no, okay. This is exactly the thing. Then they started asking people, and it's like, well, why do we need mounts? In Guild Wars 1, we could just travel the cities freely, openly, get anywhere you wanted to.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how waypoints came into design. We don't know. That's why it's awesome to discuss the intent
Yeah.
of why people want something.
Right.
Not just, give it to me now.
The interesting thing with mounts is that they are essentially a cosmetic, really, at the end of the day, especially in Guild Wars 2, with fast travel and everything. Mounts would be essentially, technically we actually do already have mounts. The riding broom. which is an awesome mount, by the way. And the tunneling tool. Both of those are technically mounts. I would accept those as mounts.
Will they change my face so I go yee when I'm on a horse too? For that mount?
If you're a Norn and you get the trick riding mount, which has 5 skills, one of which is stand on the back and do that.
Yay! Alright, I think we're done beating this horse.
I think we are. Oh, nice. Well, we're gonna stop using the fishing pole to beat the horse, and we're gonna actually talk about fishing poles in Guild Wars 2. Specifically, they came back into the client. Now, obviously, understand data mining essentially means that this thing has existed since pre-launch. It's been in the client. They data mined it in like open beta 1 or something. So it could just be that they moved some files back in, that they're like, here's some files back in. Oh, this thing happens to be in that aggregate. So I just like the fact that the fishing pole is still around.
Essentially, from branch development, it could mean that, hey, this thing was in game pre-release. It was in this packet of files on this branch, or this branch of code. Now we pull it into the release client with all this other stuff that we thought about pre-release, like this other World v World map or this or that, and then it ends up on the live client. It doesn't mean they're going to do anything with it.
Although I would love...
They should.
I think fishing would be... Okay, so Washed, how would you implement fishing in Guild Wars 2?
I want fishing.
But how would you make it work?
But it's perfect for cooking. I mean, because obviously you have... cooking fits perfectly with fishing because you'd fish up your resources and then just like any other node, and then you'd be able to go and cook them into various buffs and utility things. I think it would be fantastic. Plus, it would help them sell inventory space because you're going to be filling up your inventory with more crap that you don't need. So they'll sell more gems, which means they'll make more money. And I just love fishing, and I loved fishing in WoW. I was insane about that, and
Does
I'd
WoW
love
have
to
a
see it.
mechanic for it, or is it just like a node? Because I haven't played WoW.
It's
a node.
Well, sort of. There is a mechanic. Essentially, what happens is you can go anywhere where there's water in the world, and you cast your fishing pole out, and then a little bobber shows up and it sits there, doing its thing. And if it goes underwater, you right-click on it really quick, because otherwise the fish will get away, and then it tells you if you got a fish or not, if it got away when you were reeling it in. There are nodes around the world, specifically schools, where you can get specific fish and higher chances at like random loot boxes and things. So,
Cool.
but it's kind of fun.
Fantastic.
But
I loved it.
I feel like
then you had. Well,
go ahead. Oh, I feel like. All right, Wash.
After you, sir.
No, go for it, Wash.
Well, I'm going to say it was one of the cool things was because of the different items. I mean, you had different fishing poles with different utilities, and then you had different fishing pole skins. You had reputation specific, like with the Kalawak. So you get their specific fishing pole, which was a great buff to things like that. I mean, you could easily sell limited use fishing poles, and then they could sell a unlimited one, and then you could have varying skins of those on the trading posts and the Black Light trading posts, things like that.
I'd
buy it.
I would pay good money to have something similar to the Stranglethorn Veil fishing contest.
It would be pretty cool.
Please tell me you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Josh.
Sorry, I was reading the chat.
The Stranglethorn fishing
Veil
contest.
Fishing contest.
That was pretty awesome.
So good.
On a PvP server, it was fantastic.
Yes, it was.
Oh my gosh.
So essentially, what would happen is every Saturday at a very specific time in the world, on Sunday, you would go and it was an hour, and you would have to try and catch the biggest fish and get it back to this NPC. The thing was, it was in a neutral town, so if you were on a PvP server, everyone that showed up would essentially be flagged for PvP.
Yep.
And so you would always get a griefer because they knew that people from the other side would be there, and it would be just like half the server, which meant that you essentially crammed everyone you possibly could into a very small area. And so someone kills someone, and then everyone starts killing everyone. Meanwhile, you have all these people that are like trying to kill. Plus, you have the other people who, once they get a big fish in, if they're told that they're in the lead, they're going out and killing all the other fishermen in order to try and keep them from turning in a bigger fish.
They do tell, I think it was every 15 minutes, who was in the lead.
Yes. So if you're in the lead, like, people will go out and kill you so that you're either dead and not able to claim the reward, or they will, or that person will go start killing people. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I won the Stranglethorn fishing contest as well. I got the epic level fishing rod.
I
was
just
pretty pumped.
All that
day.
being said, I think fishing would be fantastic in Guild Wars 2. And I think it would be a way of providing additional recipes and crafting and all kinds of fun stuff.
yeah. Widechar, you are my hero. You are the first person other than myself that I know that that plays Dwarf Fortress. Yes, that's an awesome game. But okay, so when I think of fishing in Guild Wars 2, I'm a little bit crazier, and I think, you know what you could have instead of a gathering tool? A thing that you put in your pack, you carry it with you, and when you get to a fishing hole, you equip it, it becomes a weapon skills, it replaces your 5 weapon skills. Skill number 5 becomes, and it gets rid of your top tier skills. So 6 basically disables it, so it's almost like a costume. 6 will disable, yeah, and then what happens is, you get 1 through 4 are different lures. And depending on like time of day and stuff, and it's random, and there's some random elements that you could program into to each zone to say, okay, what's the best lure for the zone? And maybe you could get different fishing poles with different lures on them. And so you pick 1 through 4, and then it puts that lure on it. 5 casts it, and then and then the bobber's out there, and then you have the bobber singer. Now, obviously, this is not a simple thing to program.
No.
Clearly. But with the bobbers,
Obviously.
and the question is, would this actually be fun to play? I mean, that's something too. I mean, but with the bobber out there, depending on what the bobber's doing, you can try and push your 1 through 5 skills while it's in there for like a fast reel. Try and set the hook with maybe a 1, and then do a reel. They do have charge skills again, where you can hold it down. So maybe your reeling is a charge skill, and when it fills the bar, it's reeled in, or maybe there's like a percentage somewhere. I don't know how that would work. Obviously, this would be
very complex.
It's extremely complex. Nodes I would be fine with for fishing, but oh my goodness, that could actually be a pretty fascinating form of horizontal development of like, I'm learning how to fish. Or not. Malchior, you seem to be less than excited about this concept.
I was so close not going to do it off the ledge.
You're not going to jump off the ledge?
I'm trying to knock someone else off the ledge.
You got
No,
this.
see, what would have to be done to make fishing special in Guild Wars 2, because ArenaNet's all about innovation, it would have to be more than just like a poor man's lottery, because that's kind of what it was. It was a great way to kill time. Yes, it could be used to up your cooking, but it's essentially tossing your bobber in, hoping you land the big one, or hoping you catch up some sunken treasure.
So what about my idea where it becomes a bundle essentially, or like a skill that you equip from costume. So a costume brawl weapon, except instead of costume brawl, it's actually a fishing. So you basically go into your town clothes, you get your fishing pole equipped, and now you have new skills.
Yes, that would probably work functionally. But what would you want it to accomplish?
So the
You don't
goal,
wanna
yeah.
You don't
go
want to
ahead.
just say. You don't want to just say, let's add fishing so we can do more with cooking.
No.
You add fishing so you can have something cool with fishing.
It
Yes.
sounds like they could do it like an open world mini game, like the bar brawl. What is it called? The
Yeah.
Omnomberry thing that I haven't seen since it came out. And costume brawl is the other one.
Ooh, that would actually be a cool thing as well. Is you get a fishing net, and you have to throw it out and like try and catch fish as they're like swimming by, or something like that. Speaking of fishing and Alaskan Winter, who lived in Homer, which is amazing for fishing. I really hope you fished a lot in Homer, Alaskan. Oh my goodness. That's where you get the 600-pound halibuts, or 900, or, you know, they get big. That's right, Kate, they could eat you in
I don't
one
want to be
gulp.
by a halibut.
Can we get off of fishing? What's up?
I love fishing. Okay, I'm sorry. It's a thing. Alright, so clearly we don't know when or even if fishing will ever make it into Guild Wars 2. Until that day, we will have to live without seafood. And another thing, actually, I don't even know how to make this transition. So the gem store, the segue. I was like, come on, fishing gem store. I don't. Yeah, something about buying glowing, fiery fishing poles. Ah, there we go. When they do add fishing into the game, you can get your own glowing, fiery, reskinned fishing pole.
Someone stop this, man.
Oh, anyways, so they added the new Flame-Kissed armor set into the gem store. It is a fiery version of the feathered armor set now. So my issue still stands with the Flame-Kissed set in general, in that it's just a straight-up reskin where they took a dye channel and they're like, we're putting fire in the dye channel. It's clearly a little bit more work than that, but for $10, that's my opinion. I think you guys probably have a little bit different opinions than me. Malchior, are you just frozen? Or are you there?
Yeah.
Malchior's frozen. Okay, he'll come back.
Yeah.
So, how do you guys feel about that? I mean, I think I made my my point clear last time.
It's aesthetically disappointing if you bought a previous set, because the set they chose is the feathered crafted set, and
Has more cleavage.
yeah, it's not the same. It's as someone who really enjoys the armor skin, it just really doesn't look good on the female characters. On the guys, yeah, good, nailed it. But it doesn't really. It's not the same on the female characters. And granted, you can say that with the tier 3, but whatever. It's more in line with the other sets, which is good, because otherwise they would have to redo medium and heavy. If they had made an entirely new armor set, they'd have 2 other armor classes on their hands, up in arms. But yeah, I think everyone I know who bought it is asking for a refund now, so sorry, ArenaNet. It's a rough day.
I have to agree with you, Eric. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's. I'm getting feedback. Okay. At the end of the day, it's still just a reskin.
How do you feel about it, Malchior?
He took his headset off.
Oh, his headset's off?
Yep.
Yeah. But
He could still hear us, though. So, let's see. I need to add you back in video-wise. Let's see if we can do that. Oh, we are getting feedback.
that's me.
Oh.
I think it's Malcolm.
Oh, that's right, because his headset's off. Mute yourself. Oh, wait, I'll just mute you. Okay, there. Fixed. Adding window. So, washed. How do you washed or Kate? If you want to field this, essentially the question is, do you feel that this is a trendsetter with it, or do you think that what we'll see is a lot of people refunding and them realizing, oh, we shouldn't be doing that, or do you think that really the work that they put into it is enough that it does constitute as a different set of armor?
Well, no, it definitely doesn't constitute a different set of armor. If I wanted to, I think if I had a choice of what I could see this on, I would rather see dyes with these crazy particle effects that you could apply instead of having. Yeah, I don't know how technically feasible that is, but that's what I would rather see as a solution to that. And I would be okay with them being marketed on the gem store if they weren't random, because I don't like these random. I bought a pack of those 5 flame dyes, and I got four blue dyes and a green dye out of it. Not like colored, but like rarity. That was miserable. I will never touch RNG again.
That's what they're teaching you, kids, is do not.
Yeah, I know. It's sitting in my
Do not
recent
gamble.
purchases in the gem store, mocking me and reminding me never to gamble on Guild Wars 2 again. So, yeah, as somebody in chat said, it's an experiment, and it absolutely is an experiment about what we would pay for as users. I just hope that enough people have said, yeah, we won't pay for this, so that we won't see it again. Maybe I could see it at a reduced price, maybe 500 gems. 600 gems, maybe. I don't know what people want. I will never buy them as long as they're reskins of other armor that I can just get in the game. I can make it pretty with my own dyes. Thank you very much. I need to buy your 600 gem nonsense.
So, Malchior, how do you feel about the armor sets? Do you think that, are you sort of ambivalent, or do you think that it was a misstep? Or do you really like them?
No, I haven't looked at it too much. The one that they've released is a reskin of the crafting set, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, feathered.
Feathered, yes.
Artistically, it looks fantastic. It's disappointing they couldn't make a new one. I mean, the only answer for that is they don't have the time, or they're busy with something else.
Which is entirely possible.
Yeah. So do you think, so looking at the actual armor, do you think it would actually be possible to make dyes that would do the same thing?
Dyes
would-
that would what? Add those flame effects?
Yeah, add the flame effects.
I
No,
would
probably
think
probably
No, you
not.
don't think so?
The way I haven't checked this particular armor, but you can try when you dye each piece of armor. Their dye channels are set on each piece, such that it's part of the actual armor model itself, whereas these flame, they're just effects. I don't know if you could set a dye channel to those.
I don't know.
That'd be
It'd be an
interesting.
technical, yeah.
You know what would, it would make people, if they ever released
I
Ascended dyes
I always
that did that,
gotta think of the technical.
anything's
Yeah.
possible with infinite
I
dev
feel
time.
There's gotta be some.
Thanks, White
Basically.
Jar. I think it would be amazing if they did Ascended dyes that way. That would be
Oh yeah.
that'd be
cool.
incredible. But yeah, I'm actually, I was kind of grumpy with it, but you know, now that I've seen it, and I've seen them, that this doesn't seem to be something that they're like, we will do this for all the time. It seems to be pretty reasonable, actually, the direction that they're going. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing new, different kinds of armor as well, which their new armor has been reasonably good so far.
Yes.
But they have also added another weapon set, so we've got a whole bunch of weapons now. We have got the Love-Struck weapons. I hear that these are
Now those are cool.
lovely, in fact. So what do they look like? So what I'm gonna
How
do
long
is
did
you
you-
guys
how-
talk
how
about
long
them
did
for a
you
little bit,
spend
and I'm
getting
gonna
that
bring
one
them up.
ready?
That one took me about 15 seconds because it just pretty much walked out the door and was like, here's a pun. So Washed, what do these look like?
I haven't even looked at them yet. I don't know. I'm looking it up now.
Oh, okay, fine.
They've got hearts on all of them that are glowy and pink. They're they're a really good looking weapon set, I have to admit. The hammer is really cool because it's like a very broad hammer as opposed to these tiny little ones we've been
Yes.
used
That's cool
to. So
looking.
the hammer is super cool.
Hammer, sword, and shield are my favorites. Also, rifle ain't too bad. Like, that shield, it's like, I'm gonna kill you with pink.
By the way, Dolphy has updated her
It
amazing
actually looks
website
so-
with gifs of the weapons.
Oh, really?
So Dolphy,
Awesome.
props to you.
Yes. The shield in the very kind of most abstract way possible reminds me of the Guild Wars 1 Tormented Shield,
Yeah, a little bit.
which is always a good thing.
Yes. I can
Those
see that.
ads. Look at them ads.
Oh wow, Evie, wow. Yeah, the Heartseeker thieves are gonna definitely want to get the Love-Struck dagger.
Oh, I see. Oh, you know what? Actually, the Love-Struck Protector makes me think of like a really fancy cologne or perfume bottle.
Yeah, it's a
Wow.
good-looking weapon set.
These
Yeah,
are
that-
actually
that
really
great sword is
fantastic
pretty
weapons.
sick, too.
Oh, and look,
They-
it's a new way to get a rapier, people.
Yes.
It's true.
So for all of you Farron lovers, Farron and a Speedo lovers, we will now see him equipped wearing with two of these in a Speedo during the next update.
I'm so excited
Dara,
for that.
that's just for you. See, look at the protector. It looks like a tormented shield. Except
Yes.
like the heart design, but the glow is nice.
Yeah, it is pretty dope. Cool.
It's pretty. I mean, it's a nice-looking set. Like I said, it's. I'm glad to see them kind of branching out because it's thematic enough to
Yeah.
be different. So.
What I liked
It's-
about it
It's
is
weird. I kind of. Good.
Go ahead, Kate.
Well, I was gonna go into acquisition, so if you still have comments about aesthetics, please go
Yep.
ahead.
Were you gonna say something about
it's
aesthetics,
like-
Mel? Go.
It's just you would expect like a Valentine set to be cheesy or corny, but these are very well crafted.
They are. They're
Very pleasing to the eye.
I will admit, when I heard that they were doing a
Despite
bunch
your
of
like or
love-struck
dislike of
weapons.
the color pink.
Kate, you went away.
Despite your like or dislike of the
I'm
color.
here.
These
Oh,
are
I
the
see what I did
best.
wrong.
She's alive.
Did you banish me?
I might have accidentally banished you. I've banned you. I'm sorry, Kate.
Eric. Banish
This
it.
is why we don't
Wait,
let you press
again?
buttons.
Fixed it. Yeah, that's right.
This is
I'm a
why
pro.
Eric doesn't mod.
This is why I don't mod, except for the show. They're very cool. You know, I was not actually I hadn't seen them yet, and they're actually pretty impressive. I like them. So good work, ArenaNet. You surprised me with the quality there. I guess I was just expecting something to be weird with that.
I totally was.
Yeah.
The Quaggan finisher is still weird, but it's awesome.
Oh, but
I
it's
got
so
it
awesome.
today.
It's
while
true.
doing-
You do realize this means that Cole will
Hey,
never.
I got Quaggan on.
You got quaggened on. That's a thing now.
I got Quaggan on. I got Quaggan on today. That's a verb now in TPVP.
That's hilarious. This means that Cole will never play structured PvP ever. Our founder, who passionately hates Quaggan.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. I saw it on the stream and I was like, wait. And the Quaggan came down on the spear and then jumped off and then went up in the air on the fountain. I was like, okay, that's kind of weird, but okay. And then the baby Quaggan started dancing in a circle around the corpse. I had like a Children of the Corn moment or something, like... Oh. Quagganated. Oh my goodness. It is a pretty cool finisher. It is... I'm still waiting for the Doom finisher, to be honest. Like, that is... I will buy that as soon as... If they can take the Doom, like, the Doom banning from Guild Wars 1 and bring that as a finisher into Guild Wars 2, I will buy that. I will...
That would be cool.
That is... I got the Spectral one, which is cool. The one where, like, you get the shadow stabbing someone through the heart with a shadowy sword, that's cool, but... Doom with a scythe, oh, that would be amazing. I'm just gonna keep suggesting that until it actually happens. I think as soon as the first finisher came out in like beta, I was like, cow finisher? We need a Doom finisher.
Oh, good news for you. Evie says that the Doomstone finisher was data mined.
Yes. That would be
What?
amazing. I would love that.
That would be awesome.
Well,
It's good times.
the nice thing to know is that it is rather hard to get these love-struck weapons, so, you know, save up your Black Lion scraps, guys.
Yeah.
And,
They actually aren't that hard
Oh,
to get.
forget that.
It is
Save
one
your gold.
Black Lion
Buy
ticket.
them off the TP.
Yes, it's only one Black Lion ticket. So if you do decide to go the Black Lion chest route, it's only one ticket. Remember that a ticket is multiple scraps, but it's only one instead of 5 or 10, which is
Yeah.
great. It's actually reasonably
Save your
affordable.
gold.
But yes, like Malkira is saying, do save your gold. Go to the trading post where you can buy all these skins for gold, not random generated gold gems. I don't know what I'm saying. Don't mess with RNG, people. It's
Also,
just not a
as
thing you
more-
do.
As more people... Okay, here's the deal. As more people log on, as it gets closer to actual Valentine's Day and e-lovers buy these weapons for their friends, they will go down in price
Yeah.
as more supply hits the TP.
Yeah, more supplies.
Save your
Everything's going down.
gold.
this is why we need to have a economy cast with Lewis, Mal, and Grybox, so that we can have like a sit down like once a month and say, this month, this is what you should be looking at on the trading post. But that's something for more advanced
Or
players.
No, not even
and
that. Just
come on, I'm in the middle of a segue here. That's for
Go
more
for it.
advanced players, but Kate has been spending time with a newbie of late. Does your friend accept the name newbie, or is she like, that is mortifying, or is she like, I don't even know what that word is?
She's okay with it. New to the point where this is her first MMO, and we've taken her first steps in Guild Wars 2. She's now level 13.
Yay!
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah, so we've been having a blast, but it's something different for me because, you know, as advanced players, as me, you know, me having, you know, more 80s than I can count on hands.
You can shake a stick at.
Yeah, it's a different thing to come back and see someone, you know, just getting into the game that I enjoy and I've invested a lot of time in, and see what it's like to be a new player in the game. And I can't believe we did it. I was on my laptop and she was here on my computer, so I got to watch over her shoulder as she took her first steps. And I can't believe the number of pop-ups you get when you first come into the game, and it has changed since, you know, we took our first steps back in beta, in, you know, launch. There's the UI is a little bit more clear. There's arrows pointing to things, but there's so many tooltips. It's like using Internet Explorer without an ad blocker. It's just
Ow.
scary.
That's
They're
bad.
everywhere.
I wonder when those went in and how they work.
I don't
ain't seen
know.
it.
So
I see
actually,
When you make a new profession, you'll see like a tooltip for their profession-specific ability.
Mm-hmm.
if you
haven't
roll,
seen a
so if you,
thing.
so the major tooltips went in 3 or 4 months ago. Actually, I remembered when I rolled a new character and it popped out, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, why is it pointing all these arrows? What's going on? I don't know." And then there was like a little checkbox that was like, "Please turn this off. Click this if you would like to turn off tooltips." I'm like, "Thank you. I know how to play this game." But you know, actually, it is a good tutorial is first of all hard to do, especially in a complex system like an MMO. And Guild Wars, I had a friend that started, and her first question was, "How do I attack stuff?" MMO veteran's gonna be like, "Okay, you tab target, you hit one." She'd never played an MMO before.
You don't
Her,
have to do that.
Yeah.
Auto targeting is like default.
it's
Press
true.
One.
It's
Press
true.
one.
Yeah, but
You click one. If you're a bad clicker, you could click one.
you could use a mouse.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've
please
already-
don't
I've
click.
already-
You're hurting my sensibilities.
I've already told her that we don't click. That's not a thing.
So
we do.
the funny,
People
so
don't press buttons.
okay, when you guys first got
Nor
into
do you mouse, nor do you
MMOs,
keyboard turn either. Don't do that.
quick question: when you guys first got into MMOs, were you clickers?
I
Heck
was
no.
I was a clicker all through Guild Wars, but that was because I didn't have to do anything else, so I could do that easily. I played an assassin. I played a dagger spam assassin, so I just went 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. And that was all I did because that's what dagger assassins do. I've since learned in Guild Wars 2 now that I have to move and be able to do stuff. Yes, I absolutely hit buttons, but I did start as a clicker.
Malchior?
It depended on the game. My first game was Conquer Online, and I sure as hell could like not click that game because you have to use your. It's an isometric game, so I moved with the mouse, and I have to use. I think it was hold control to jump, and so I'm constantly jumping and casting spells in midair and jump. No
Nice.
way. But then somehow I devolved from that to be a clicker in Guild Wars 1. I don't know how that
What
happened.
happened?
I'm glad I wasn't alone in this. Thank
So-
you.
You're not. But, and then I started clicking in Guild Wars 1 a different way. Click to move, because it was, when I started getting into GVG, it was the superior method of movement, because when you click to move in Guild Wars 1, your character reaches maximum acceleration immediately instead of over time while walking normally. But yeah.
The hilarious thing for me was so when I first started playing games and I played like Command and Conquer, I was a clicker in Command and Conquer 1. And then I discovered, oh, there's shortcut keys, and so I stopped clicking and just started using shortcut keys. So by the time I got to World of Warcraft, I was so used to using shortcut keys that I got into raiding and Burning Crusade. I was not high enough level. I leveled, like, it took me the entire vanilla WoW to get my first 60.
Nice.
I was very lazy. And, yeah. But, so I got into Burning Crusade and was raiding Karazhan and stuff, and they're like, oh, okay, you're pretty competent. I'm like, how can I be better? And they're like, well, first of all, stop being a clicker. I'm like, what's a clicker? They, like, explain it to me. I'm like, why would you, I had no concept that people actually played the game by clicking on the on the action bar. I was like, why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense.
I have a friend who was a main tank raiding like Onyxia and all that stuff back in the day, who was a clicker and keyboard turner. I have no idea how he did it successfully.
Well, and Eevee did world...
Many worlds, handle it.
And Eevee was doing world first raiding in Burning Crusade as a clicker, which I think that just
Wait,
shows...
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, server first. Maybe not world first, but he was doing server first rating. Yeah. Well, I still insist that Eevee's actions per minute at the time must have been insane. Like, his APM must be ridiculous. He'd just be like, click, 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 click. Or he was just using heal bot, and so he'd click on the heal skill. He had macroed it all, so he'd click it, and it would heal the person that was at the lowest health. He'd click it, and it would heal the tank. So...
Called out. Alright, and back to Kate's friend. Crazy
right.
pop-ups and stuff. She's level 10 now. Does she have her traits?
No, she couldn't figure out how to use her traits because none of the crazy pop-ups. She was, I have to say, for a player, she was very good at reading every single one of the tooltips. For us, it's like, yeah, I've played a video game. This stuff, I know how to
Right,
do
yep.
WASD, I got this. But she was very diligent about reading every single one, and not a single one told her she had to go get a book to use her traits. So she's going, okay, I've got these points. What do I do? She's clicking on stuff. Can't figure out what I do. So she spent a whole bunch of skill points. She's like, yeah, I got my traits. Oh no! So we had to direct her to get her.
Wait, she spent a whole bunch of skill points on what?
On her different skills. Yeah,
She's
on the
like,
utilities.
So she been going 1 to 5 on just her weapon skills, or
Yeah.
1 to 10 on
1 to
just...
10, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get your first skill lock until 5.
Ew.
Yeah. So we've got her straightened out now.
And what
Obviously,
class was she?
She's playing a guardian.
Okay, so she had shelter. Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
At least she had the OP heal.
Well, yeah, but she was...
here to direct her, but for players who don't have that kind of direction, who are just coming into Guild Wars, it's got to be a highly frustrating experience.
Yeah, the new player experience is something that always has to be illustrated well, whether it be through tooltips, not pop-ups all over the freaking place, but just tooltips sparsed out every now and then, illustrating game mechanics in game. I swear, I don't know why they don't just like have some trainer or something in Claypool. So right when you get around level 8 or something, like they do in the PvP zone, where this robot's attacking you and it teaches you how to dodge.
So there could be...
They kind of do, but yeah, I know what you mean.
So if you took and put, like, when someone first starts playing and it's their first time playing the game, the new account, new character, give them... So I would imagine the goal would be to run them through the very basic functions of the game, get them familiar with all of the panels in a tutorial to clarify things. Give a brand new player... Well, I'm thinking if you're a brand new player who's not played MMOs before, give them a toggle that says, okay, click this if you want to go into a tutorial. The tutorial opens up and it does the really basic stuff, like they're in a white room and it's like walk forward. They walk forward and maybe something pops up and it's like jump over this by pressing spacebar and do those sorts of things. And basically do an hour-long tutorial that gets them first moving, then attacking, and then... But see, then that's not getting them to the fun very quickly either.
See, here's the deal. You don't restrict people. There's a difference between...
Oh, I'm saying it's optional. It's not forced.
I know, but still, that's restricting people. There's a difference between teaching and guiding and messaging. Passive messaging. Right now, they're doing way too much passive messaging. If Kate's friend is complaining about Guild Wars 2 looking like Internet Explorer, and there's not enough teaching.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to ask, Kate, what was has your friend seen Downstate yet? What was her reactions?
She hasn't really seen Downstate because the early content she can really do by pressing 1, 2, 3.
Get her killed.
And that's it.
Sorry.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, you guys remember
Get her killed and see what her reactions are.
But remember back in beta when they made that change that forced you during the opening scenes to go into the downstate?
They removed that recently, didn't they?
Yeah.
They removed it at launch. It was gone at launch. But in beta, it was if you went through that opening section, it forced you into the downstate so you could see what it was.
I think what I'd like to see is a redesign of some of the earlier hearts that teach you to do mechanics. Like there would be one say, hey, you can complete this heart by dodging. Look at how you can dodge these things, and teach them to watch enemy mechanics and do dodging, or teach them to move and use skills or something.
That's freaking brilliant. There's one in
Claypool. I love Claypool. Is my town.
That one was great.
Claypool's cool.
Darren Claypool's an awesome guy. It's named by one of the map designers in Arena. I only found that out because I watched the PvP map live stream. But anyway.
Claypool, I love your town.
Good job.
Anyway, Claypool. So you grab the shield, and so then you have to press skill 1 to the shield block as the Seraph dude charges you, and then you grab the rifle and you have to hold it there and hold it and hold it and hold it until you get the command to fire, such that
which is funny because. Yeah.
There are no charge skills, but
no more charge skills.
Yet. Come on, guys. When Scythe comes out and you start doing your spinny attacks into people, that's totally gonna be a charge skill weapon. Like the weapon is going to be built on charge skills and chaining them.
The good one in Claypool is when they already said about the. Well, there's two good ones. There's the shield, where he's charging you, and you have to block it in time. And then there's attack, where you have the sword and you have to go through his shield such that he'll always be up, and then you look for the moment of opportunity to attack.
Yeah.
So actually, that's really interesting. So tie it into hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Why isn't there a dodge heart?
There's not. Yeah, there should be. Okay. Well, ArenaNet, if you give us access to your tool set, Widechar, we will make a dodge heart for you. It will be called the Relics of Orr dodge heart.
Are they not doing hearts anymore?
No, we'll just add it into Queensdale. It'll be another heart you have to complete. We'll put it. We'll make it.
Just add it into Claypool.
Change an existing.
Yeah, that's true.
What's the problem with changing existing stuff if we're trying to make the new player experience more instructive?
Speaking of this, actually, I want to ask Widechar a question. I've been theorizing this. Have they been changing hearts since launch to add non-combat options for completing them?
I thought they were.
I thought they were already.
They were all there. Each heart
Okay.
has at least two methods of completion.
You always do the kill one because that gives you more experience. But
each heart has at least 2 to 3 methods of completion.
Oh, Evie says that there is a heart in the Norn to start area with the snowball fights.
The snowballs, yeah.
You don't even have to dodge it. If they hit you, you'll get completion for the heart.
Yeah. You just throw snowballs at the kids' faces.
Yeah, or if they hit
cool
you with
one,
snowballs, you get credit for the heart, even if they hit you.
Oh, okay. They always had the pacifist options. Cool. I still need to finish my pacifist playthrough of my Azura Thief someday, maybe. I'll stream it 17 years later.
How would you do Orr?
What do you mean, how would you do Orr?
How would you complete
Orr?
Orr?
Orr as a pacifist.
Very carefully.
Yeah.
Well,
that's why you're a thief.
Exploration.
It's like perma-stealth.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the thing, is you can complete a zone. Well, there are a lot of hearts that are non-pacifist hearts, so it's not world completion. You couldn't 100% the world with it. It's more just get to 80 as a pacifist without crafting. Because that's easy.
Well, yeah, because crafting's easy. Yeah.
Or gathering.
Has your friend seen crafting yet?
No, we haven't talked. I've been teaching her to gather materials, but we haven't looked at crafting at all because if I'm not there to show her over her shoulder, I know she'll have a tough time understanding what it is right away. But also because it's so expensive, and I don't want her to just experiment knowing that she could sink a whole ton of her, because she's only got like 30 silver right now. I don't want her to sink all her money into crafting going,
that's like,
oh look, I made
she's richer than me.
Sword handles. I go, oh no.
What level would you be comfortable at introducing crafting to her?
If the crafting market was the way it was, pre-ascended crafting, any level,
Yeah.
fine. Just,
Yeah.
I would get her started right away. But until she's got kind of a stable financial situation, no. Like all her money she has right now is she sold an unidentified die on the trading post. I was like, yeah, sell those. You can buy cheaper ones. So
Cool. It's true.
And then she's a guardian, so she's probably slowly learning how to use her virtues effectively.
Mhm.
Cool. And then has she experimented with different weapon types yet, or is she just kind of stuck on 2?
I think she's kind of getting into the swing where she's found her weapons that she likes, but she just found a staff and she went, oh my god, it makes rainbows. So she's really excited about
Yeah,
staff and hammer right now. So she
Sweet.
can knock stuff around with the hammer.
Sweet. Has she done any personal story? What race did she make?
Norn, we rolled Norn together. I rolled a necromancer and she rolled a guardian. And
Good
we actually
choice.
picked the same first 2. This is my second necromancer, Eric. Yeah. So yeah, we rolled the first 2 personal stories together. I don't think she's done any without my guidance, but she knows that it's there. She can find the personal stories. I think she's just waiting for me because she knows we progressed together on that.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. That's cool.
Very cool. Well, it's
Keep
good to
us
see.
informed
Yeah.
of her progress.
Yes, we're going to ask you every week about your adventures
and,
with.
like, any time like some of the good stuff comes out, like her discovering Downstate for the first time, take notes or
I've
record
been
it.
thinking about streaming
Screenshot it.
or
Stream
whatever.
this. Stream this.
Maybe I will. Maybe next time we're
My
leveling
first
up.
Tyrion adventures. We'll have Ryan do like a baby intro.
Oh my god.
That would be fun,
It'd
actually.
be amazing. Well, we're almost at the end of the show. This week we asked you guys some questions on Twitter, and holy smokes, my phone exploded with
Citizens.
people. It was amazing.
Citizens.
I do not have citizens tweet. Okay, so Kate tweeted it while I was still at work. You are muted, by the way, Washed.
I know, I'm talking to my son.
Oh, okay. Kate tweeted it while I was still at work, and all of a sudden my phone was just in my pocket. Vroom, 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 vroom. People were looking over at me like, what's going on over there? I'm like, it's my phone. I don't know what's going on. I
did it as
cried.
I left class, so I could walk home and then look at everything when I got home. I had 22 messages when I got home.
Nice. That's
I was
good,
so
though.
excited. Yeah, thanks for answering, everyone. And if you haven't, they're on Twitter. You can go find them.
Yeah.
Really quick, going back, an interesting thing is ArenaNet pulls people in who have never played games before to come in and playtest and see their reactions. That's actually a really good system because, you know,
that's
you
a
get the
great
questions where you're like, oh, someone's asking, how do I attack? You can be like, okay, so how do we teach someone that? Very cool. That's a good way to do it.
How do you
Yeah,
apply for that job?
how
I've never
do you-
played games before. I want to be a
It's
game
not-
tester.
They brought in family and friends. I
Yeah.
remember Peter Freeze talking about it.
Yeah.
Bring in
Yeah,
your
it's not
grandma.
a job. It's literally just like on the street or find
Yeah,
friends
yeah.
and family, sign a document, and go in.
Nice.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool. So, back on the question of the week. What is the question of the week, Kate?
I actually asked 2 this week.
Oh,
The first-
snap.
The first one relates to actually what we were just talking about. Is there anything you wish you knew as a brand new player to Guild Wars 2 that you know now? And there was some good answers to that. At Neo Nugget says, if you're buying blueprints, buy them from the trading post. Don't buy them from the merchant. He's an extortionist. Which is
Yeah.
absolutely true. See just so much cheaper on the trading post. Related to the trading post, Tasha Dark says that, you know, when you listen to the trading post takes 15%. So if you think you're making profit, you might not be making as much profit as you think you're making. So
I believe you
be careful.
multiply what you're selling by 0.84, and that will give you your actual money that you will make off of it.
0.85 if you're taking 15%.
Except you assume that if there's an uneven number, it's going to round up to 16%.
Just look at the profit field and compare
Except
that with
that's
the listed
incorrect,
price.
because that's only the 10% listing fee. There's a
Yeah,
5%
it's
sales
close
fee. So
It's
if you
close enough.
yeah, but it's nice
I mean,
to
it's-
get the
unless your
real
item's
numbers,
So close to the vendor price.
which almost everything.
I
Well,
know.
so much stuff is.
I know, which is really sad.
So,
But
anyways,
that's a topic for another
yep.
day.
Not raw materials. Nope.
Grybeck says in all caps, oh, never buy weapons from vendors for money. They are ripoffs. Karma is okay. TP FTW.
Yeah.
So yeah, use the trading post liberally. At Atherin Scale says, don't ignore gathering or salvaging. Sell stuff on the trading post and not to vendors. It won't make much. You won't make much money otherwise while you're leveling.
This is an interesting trend now. How many things have said trading post?
A lot of them.
Okay. Has your friend used the trading post yet?
She knows how to sell stuff on it, but she doesn't. I don't think we've bought anything on it yet, because she's just been equipping the gear that she finds.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Is there some way that
So,
you could like put
when-
both her screen and your screen up at the same time?
Yeah, like
Uh,
when is it comfortable
I don't know.
to introduce a new player to the trading post? Because it's a global economy.
After they've gotten a degree in economics.
Global economy, and that
Yeah.
means there is an abundance of supply. Mostly everything is dirt cheap.
Mhm.
People always want to get a good deal or get value out of their money, so you feel like you would introduce the trading post to newer players earlier, but there's that danger because it's a global market. There are people that are out to take your money. Let's be serious.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I think the place that I found the TP most useful for a new player is going to be in acquiring level-appropriate gear so that they're always set. I think that
Yeah.
that's probably the best. Like getting every 10 or 15 levels, getting a new set of gear, going with the cheapest version of it. Just say, get the cheapest stuff. You basically just want that armor and you want that slight buff and power and whatever. And you're good to go. So like not go for the Zerkers or the Strong because those are always overpriced. Yeah.
So Miss Pedia's in the
They
chat.
are. Hello, Miss Pedia. Welcome to Relics of Orr.
I wish I'd caught the tournament today. It was just going on as I was getting off work.
So, what other things did people respond on Twitter by saying, Kate?
At DJ Perkysaurus said combo fields are a lifesaver.
Perkysaurus!
Yeah. If you don't know how combo fields work, I will find an infographic and link it. There's a fantastic infographic that explains what every combo does in what every combo field. So yeah, learn those. They can be very fantastic. And at Sushi Geisha says the new terms and what they mean. Boons is buffs, professions equals classes, and also the importance of support professions. Because Guild Wars 2 uses a lot of concepts that are familiar to other MMO players, but renames them, like boons are buffs, but they're just called something different. So yeah, there's a lot of terminology that overlaps. Yeah, I think that. Well, there were more for that, but I didn't want to read all of them. The other question I asked was, what game types do you play? And if you're not a primarily World v World player, are you going to check out Edge of the Mist? Because it is a World versus World thing, but incorporates PvE elements. And a surprising amount of people who declare themselves PvE players are going to check out World versus World for Edge of the Mist, which I think is fantastic. It's a great way of overlapping the game types without being intrusive, because in the past, Living World's forays into World versus World have been very intrusive, such as the what was it? The toxic towers placed in the middle of the Doliac supply routes.
Yeah, that was smart.
Made for a very frustrating experience for the World versus Worlders, and they have this very negative perception of the living story as something that just interferes with their game type. And I think the way they're going about putting living story in here is proof of concept that these two game types can coexist, and we can overlap them, and it can be a positive experience.
Yeah, like right now in Edge of the Mist, the Aether Blades are right in the middle. They don't mess with no one, and their only purpose is to, like, make sense of the story / Scarlet's introduction into the map, and to like Blades in the Mist or something like that. But like they did also talk about maybe we could talk about this afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
there are AI improvements in the Edge of the Mist. I witnessed this in the public test. I saw an NPC go up to a pot of oil and use it.
Oh, nice.
They can use bundles now?
Yeah,
They're
I got
but
shelled by
interact.
girls.
They're like velociraptors. They can open doors now. Thanks, Wide Char. You created
Well,
smarter
they
AI. I'm gonna
can-
be like chasing after one, and
can.
it's gonna come out of. They can.
They can repair gates, I believe.
I saw them setting up. I don't know.
was like my-
some new thing I hadn't seen before too.
That was like my one defense in like living story release or like personal story. Like if you're getting overwhelmed, you get up to a door and you close it on them. Can you even do that? I don't even know if that's a strategy. I did that.
There's
There's
very
one-
early human story that I know of. But,
Yeah, I think that one would work.
Oh my goodness!
Only one.
All of a sudden, Vassar and Relena learn how to stand on platforms and move rocks.
Oh, that would be mean. I would really enjoy that. That would be mean in story mode.
He's going crazy.
That'd be amazing and hilarious. And I don't think it would be worth the the time spent on the AI upgrade.
But the thing is, like, AI upgrades, even if they were done for a World v. World to add more depth to the NPCs in Edge of the Mist,
Mhm.
AI upgrades can be enhanced everywhere.
Yeah.
Anytime AI is upgraded, will enhance the entire game as a whole.
So there was this one character named Alyssa, who's eventually got Alicia. How did you pronounce her name? Guild Wars 1 Prophecies campaign. The mentally slow monk that people left behind. Eventually, they upgraded her AI and gave her skills that was useful in Lie of the North.
And people
And
still left her behind.
people still left her behind because they were like, I have a
Well,
hero
yeah.
healer.
I have heroes. Yeah.
Yeah, why would you take her when you have Ogden?
Because
Ogden's
it's
bad.
Alicia. Why would you bring Ogden? Telcora all the way. Pfft.
No, Talcora was my prop monk. She was on res duty. That's all she did.
Actually, technically, I had Livia.
If she was on res duty, then she wasn't doing her job right.
I had Livia, actually, was my healer after we discovered
Oh, you
Necro
did
heals.
Necromonk?
Oh my god, no,
Yeah.
Necro Writ.
Phosphorus.
Necro Writs were
Oh,
like
yeah,
gods
right.
onto healing. It was amazing. And
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
why Necros need the Ritualist talent tree. Just so that we can start summoning stuff and become the support gods that we were meant to be. We're already walking condition reactors. See, the nice thing is I asked for burning on the show at one point, and then we got Doomfire. So now I'm asking for spirits so that our petting zoo can be better. I'm just
God,
saying.
That's all we need is more pets.
No.
Don't do it.
I will blow them all up with fire.
With your engineer pets?
With
Your turtle?
with his engineer pets, and
I
the
don't
one on his
use
back.
Those.
The-
I do not acknowledge their existence. Talking about AI improvements, yeah, that's a topic for another time. I could get heated with that.
Are you kidding? That turret is my hero. I love that turret. That's because when we fight Lupicus, it sits and fires at the wall, and we just kind of laugh about it.
What?
We did a raw run, and someone took that turret, and we dropped it just everywhere, just because, and it would just fire at the wall.
It's a special turret.
Yeah,
My
I'm not
point
sure
has
people
been
know.
made. Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh. Every profession does have access to pets, Evie. Some of them just don't fight.
Go.
Speaking of pets that don't fight, which is a form of content called mini pets, which should be Polymock, Massively had an article apparently that talked about isolating content and mechanics and how content can be really engaging and fun, and mechanics can be, and sometimes we mistake poorly designed mechanics for poor content, or vice versa. Malchior, you actually highlighted this. Can you expound upon this, or should they just go read the Massively article?
Man, this article went so deep. Just a sec.
Let's do it in
I'll
under
paste it in.
3 minutes.
Maybe.
Okay, I can mute you
So-
when you're done. No.
All right, so the massively author, who once I get back to the page, I'll see who he is. Hello, sir, Matthew Golchewski. He specifically divides mechanics like combat, or yeah, let's just say combat, with the content, the living story that would utilize said combat. And I like this sentence here. Content and mechanics are inextricable. There's your word for the day, kids. But this doesn't mean they're equal. Mechanics should serve content, not the other way around, and absolutely not in MMOs. And the example he goes on to provide is, imagine World of Warcraft that uses only mechanics that were in the game at launch, but progresses the story and adds new content, otherwise, like the real version, be rather dull and weak, but the game would always feel like it were in motion because it has a moving story. Now, imagine a WoW story with the story frozen at launch with no new content to speak of, but boss fights constantly getting updated with new mechanics. Those fights might be more fun, but the game would appear to have stalled. The developers would seem like they're in a rut trying to perfect the game instead of really giving players anything new to chew on. And I can feel Guild Wars 2 has migrated back and forth between the two pieces. One thing that Guild Wars 1 was really, really good with was when they introduced new mechanics like Assassin, Ritualist, combo skills, spirits, and all the things that went with those. Bam! They had an entire giant new continent to explore, a new story to dive into, new characters to love and to hate, Danica. And
I like Danica.
And new awards.
She had fungal
to achieve.
wallows. She was awesome. If I could have a fungal wallow in real life, straight up. I mean, first of all, they're a pet that's a necromancer. What's not to love? Anyways, keep going,
And new
Mal.
awards to achieve, like armors and weapons. And so then the next comparison he makes is League of Legends. I don't know how many people played League, or specifically played it back before they had the professional seasons. Like League preseason and League Season 1. League had the same format and the same 5v5 on the Summoner's Rift. I mean, Twisted Tree Line existed, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
It had the same thing for like 2 to 3 years.
Yep.
And it's grown to be the most popular video game, esport, whatever, of its time, maybe even of all time, because the game was so corely rooted on its mechanics. And then as they got more experience, they used the mechanics to deliver more content. Like the champions, people will say they were copied from Dota and stuff. They probably were. But as they came out with newer champions, they then started giving them more lore. They gave them more art design, more direction. The new champion Jinx they brought out, they gave her own music video because she was designed like this hip-hop trickster girl with a blaster. It's that the content needs to exist, but oh man, it's so hard to say this.
So what you're saying is you need to have the core content and people intrigued in the game, but then allow the lore to grow up around it, much like it happened in Guild Wars 1.
Yes.
Yes,
God, yes.
And
because you can introduce all kinds of new mechanics and stuff to draw people back to your game, or you can make the game extra special. Say we have action-based combat instead of hot bars, or we have dodging, and that will hold players in for the first several months. But if they don't see expanded growth in the development of the world, then they'll lose interest in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, which
And
I think we're finally getting to that in Guild Wars too. I think we're finally beginning to see the expanded growth. The characters are now coming into their own. The villain is finally. I think we're getting to a point where people sort of hated Scarlet for one reason, but I think people are finally getting, especially with now we've heard Scarlet when she was sane, and now we heard her transition when we were in the lab underneath the Priory. I think we've begun and listening to her journal. I think that we're finally getting some really cool developments, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Malchior wrote about Sandbox not being exempt from that, although in Sandbox generally it's not so much the developers that create the stories. Like the stories that you hear about in Eve are not the stories of the Minmatar and the other groups fighting. I don't know who they are. The Adamar and the whatever, the Kaldari. You hear the stories of, hey, this one person forgot to check a box on his station, and then everyone came to take it over, and 4,000 ships came, and 11 trillion ISK. Yes, 75 of the biggest ships in existence were blown out, obliterated.
That just happened.
Yes,
Did you read about it?
Yeah.
That's
No.
kind of why he's talking about it.
I mean that's the Sandbox is you give the tools the players to do it, and I think ArenaNet is doing a good job with the more traditional whatchamacallit, the thing that's not a sandbox, theme park concept of building the story.
I didn't want Eric to go full Sandbox mode, but
But it's an awesome story that needs to be told.
the
I
idea.
can ward him off.
I can warn him off. Go ahead, get the tinfoil hat. Okay, to use the sandbox design of separating content to mechanics, it's like Sandbox is not excluded from the division of between content and mechanics. The players can create tools create content given provided tools from the developer, but the responsibility of the developer does not stop there. If you give us very little sand, replace the sand with sharp rocks, or give us insufficient or broken tools, we're not going to do very much with it. Such as, perhaps even more so in a sandbox than in a theme park, the developer has to constantly be paying attention to the player's needs and the requirements to build interesting content.
Cool.
Whether it be expansion, yeah.
Yeah, no, and I think
It's
that's
a great article.
Yeah, you guys should definitely read it. The soapbox articles on Massively are always fantastic, and so it's cool to see discussion on that. So, speaking of Sandbox, I'm going to tell you. No, wait, I'm not. It's not post show. We're going to actually finish up here because we've been talking for an hour and a half. We've been talking for an hour and a half, so I'm going to let us finish up with the ever-popular. In fact, it's the reason why you all came, I'm certain, is to hear Kate say these words.
Hello and welcome to Cast, the podcast within the podcast about the cast of other podcasts in the style of casts of other podcasts. I don't have much for you guys today. I'm planning an event with Duke Witherheart sometime in early March. I don't have an exact date for you guys yet. I promise I will. If your guild has a TeamSpeak with like 100 slots in it and I could make use of it for a day, would you let me know? Because I need one of those and I don't know where to find one. Also, if you're on a very low pop North American server and you haven't seen your temples completed in a while, I encourage you to contact me.
Cough and rock cough.
Yeah, we're thinking about going to Anvil Rock, but I want to know from the other servers too, because Anvil Rock is the lowest pop server I know, and I think Kaineng is even lower. So if you are on a low pop server, get in touch with me. I want to know what's going on your server. Yeah, there will also be a European component, but I don't have exact details for you yet. I promise they're coming in the future soon. I will have exact dates for you guys.
Soon.
No, that will be coming soon too.
Trademark.
And Wash, do you have an announcement too? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be starting a new little streaming project here on Relics of Orr. So as you guys know, I have to leave like pretty much right after the show because I work nights. But on the weekend,
we're pushing it for you.
I know, right? Yeah. So I'm actually going to be starting a little project called Late Night Levelers. I've had a hankering just to level a new tune and kind of do it old school, just explore the world, do personal story, not this like rapid crafting or champ farm training. So I'm just gonna at 10 p.m. Pacific on Saturday night. I'm just gonna start streaming, and if you want to come level a new character with me, you're more than welcome to do so, and just hang out and have a good time late at night.
Sweet.
You
But
may
it or
even
may
be
not
able to.
be
You may get into
adult
Relics of
beverages
Orr.
involved.
Yeah, and you may end up in Relics of Orr after midnight, folks. Which, as we
Exactly.
all know, is
Relics
amazing.
After midnight.
If you guys have never participated in Relics After Midnight, I recommend it. But
It
don't
gets
bring your
crazy.
children.
Bring your tinfoil hats.
Yeah, to keep Eric away.
Well, thank you guys for watching. We are always glad to see you in chat. We're going to go into post-show in about 2 seconds. But if you guys would like, go ahead, and if you have any questions for us as hosts that you'd like us to read on the show, go ahead and send us an email at relicsofOrr@gmail.com. You can also tweet it at us with the Twitter at Relics of Orr. You could tweet at Shongaku. I will get it, but yes, that would work. But you can also go to relicsoforr.com and go onto our forums. Kate trolls those on a regular basis as our amazing community manager. She keeps track of that. And Evie wants to host Relics of Orr after midnight. Actually, he'd probably be pretty good. He and Triv are pretty amazing at it. So let's see, where else are we? We are relicsoforr.com, at Relics of Orr, relicsoforr@gmail.com, and that is where you can find us. So we hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we will see you guys in Guild Wars 2. See ya!
In the Edge.
Also follow these people on the various places that are under their names, under their faces.